Yo dudes, what's up? This is Planet Keith, I'm Keith, and today I'm very excited because I'm finally getting started on a project that I've been wanting to do for several years really, ever since I started making videos for YouTube. I'm going to start making a camera slider. And if you don't know, a camera slider is a gadget that you can fix your camera onto and you can slide it and get very kind of cinematic shots and very professional looking shots. This is going to be a two-stage project. First of all, I'm just going to do the simple basic hand operated slider, and then in a later video, because I know it's going to take a lot of time and effort to do it, I'm going to motorize it, and it'll all be very, very cool, but that's somewhat down the road. I said I've been wanting to do it for years. I've actually had the components for about a year, but never had the time to do it. Still don't really. So what I've got is, for my base, a bit of wood. It's got solid beech bit of edge in there, but it's actually veneer stuck onto some kind of fiberboard. Very rigid, and that is not likely to kind of warp or distort, which is important. So if you look for videos about making a camera slider on that YouTube, you'll find quite a lot, and a lot of them will say make your own camera slider for under $10. Yeah, right. Seriously, that's just clickbait. You can't really make an effective, usable, consistently usable camera slider without spending a few shillings on the mechanism that makes it work, which will be some steel rods or tubes and something to slide along them. I've got these linear bearings or bushings, and inside there's a kind of chain of ball bearings. They're not connected, but they run through these channels continuously, and it's very, very clever. Now, this first stage should have been super quick and easy to put together, but as always, it wasn't. All you need is your baseboard, your brackets, your rails, your linear bearings, and the actual slide component. And this is very much a prototype because I made a fundamental error with it, which is I printed it the wrong way around. This thing here is it's a kind of spring that would hold the bearing if it wasn't broken. The spring, not the bearing. And because I printed it with that on the base plate, you know, it's gone up and up and up and up in little layers, and so the actual spring bit is only probably less than 2mm wide, so there's no strength in that. So what you need to do is print it this way around so it grows that way, and you've got continuous filament forming your spring. But then that means that this top plate projecting component can't be done like that for various reasons. Strength again, actually. So I redesigned this as a two-part component where the top plate slots into there, then you've got the strength where you need it. Now, I could have made it up to 1 metre long, but I thought that was probably too big and impractical if I wanted to take it out on location somewhere. So I've restricted it to sort of 2 foot travel length, and that should be perfect for what I need. Okay, I've 3D printed my end brackets, and I fixed that one on, and I've sprayed everything matte black paint because it looks better. But also at a later stage I've 3D printed these bright yellow contrasting inserts, which will be that's the pulley bracket. So that's pretty sexy, I think. Now I tried putting it together and put my bearings into the broken prototype slide, and I'm just doing this to show you what happens. These fit into the end. Okay, and so there's the slide. Lovely, isn't it? Except it wobbles like a wobbly thing. And the reason for that is that the bearings internal diameter are 12 millimeters, the tubes are external diameter 10 millimeters, so there's a big old gap. So I had to get some smaller bearings. These are also 10 millimeters, and that's a problem because there's no actual clearance between the inside of the bearing and the outside of the rod. So I've been sanding this down. I've actually got, that's coming along. A bit. It should just go without any friction at all. And I don't quite know what goes on with these things because according to Amazon and eBay, there's no such thing. Well, first of all, the naming of these things is this is LM10UU, LM for linear motion, 10 for the internal diameter, and UU for unseen university. So according to Amazon and eBay, there is no such thing as an LM11UU. They seem to go in 2 millimeter increments, and there's also, according to B&Q, there's no such thing as 9 millimeter diameter tube. Of course there would be, but in the retail sector, 10 is what you get. So yeah, I don't know quite how that works, how you specify these things, because it's a bit rubbish. Anyway, so now I need to spend the rest of the day sanding these down so that I get a nice, frictionless slide. And it's a good idea to have a magnet around when you're messing about with ferrous metals, because you can do this. I sometimes wish that sawdust was magnetic. That would make life so much more interesting. Right, a few days and several sheets of sandpaper later. I don't know if we're there or not. It depends on the angle that it goes on at, because of where the lines of rollers are. If you get it right, it'll slide pretty smoothly. But if you get it wrong, it'll lock up. So I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to do a trial assembly because it might work, but yeah, it might not. Right, this is the top plate, which is just finished printing. So I printed it upside down for my own special reasons, and these sticky out bits slot onto this part, which goes on the guide rails. So because of the shape of it, I printed it with a brim to stop it warping, and I printed it with support material that I have to get rid of. And the top plate just slides into here. That's quite smooth, but the true test is can I get this to fit onto there, and I want it to fit really tightly. Yeah, baby. Okay. Oh, that's great. So that's not going to come off unless you really work at it. Let's do a trial assembly of the slider. So we'll pop the bearings into the thing, and that was worryingly loose. Yeah, I might have to glue those in, I don't know. Try and find an angle where it slides slickly, and then connect that to the sockets in that end. But that is pretty cool. I think I will put a dab of super glue in there to hold those bearings in place. But I've just noticed a wee problem with this, fixing this. The screw holes that I printed in the bracket are there and there, which are directly underneath the rails therefore it's impossible to use them. So for now, for the simple version, I think I'll try and drill a hole through there, just one. I'm going to spray the slide assembly matte black. So I'm going to try and stick these bearings into the slide mechanism with this stuff, Megafix super glue, which is a big long word, cyanoacrylate. I think that's, I've no idea how you say it. And I don't actually know if it'll work. I know it works extremely well with this kind of plastic, and it also works really well with fingers, but with metal I don't know. However, it does say in the minute print on here that it doesn't work with soft and absorbent surfaces, so you know, that's definitely not one of those. So let's try it. It's a simple one part thing, it's not a two part. It also bonds almost instantly, so there we go. Those are not going anywhere, so that's pretty marvellous. Okay, let's put it together. So I've drilled a hole in the middle there for a single screw. Okay, there we go. We have a slider. So I suppose the real test is, will it slide with an actual camera on it? This is my old Canon EOS M, which has been in a drawer for a few years, but I have plans for it, apart from this. Okay, there we have a working camera slider, which I'm very chuffed with. Looks great, works well, and actually these rails and these bearings might have cost about a tenner, so excluding the 3D printer parts and the bit of wood for the base. Yeah, camera slider for a tenner! So I'm looking forward to cracking on with the next part, which is to motorise it with some pretty slick functionality, I hope. But that's going to take 2 or 3 weeks, maybe more, so don't get too excited. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, give it a like, share and subscribe, and thanks for watching, and see you next time.